You must be Kate?
Yeah.
Tyler. Nice to meet you. Have you been here all day so far?
No, I just came from school.
Okay. I was going to ask if you were around when like the power had cut out earlier today or
Well, I'll give you the open tomorrow.
tomorrow. Are you here in the morning on this side? I think I'm on the other side, but I'm here too bright and early. The first game's at like 7 a.m. Oh. I'm hoping these last two to maybe get through a little bit speedier, but the two games that I've done so far on this side, they've had a pretty good pace. Even one went to overtime, but it didn't feel like we lost that much time. They got out a little bit early for it, which was nice. I think it was 3:20 they were supposed to start, and they started maybe like 3 or 5 minutes early, which kind of made a big difference. So. Yes. Yep. It's been smooth sailing on this side, so I'll take it. Day one continues here from the Canton Ice House as we move from the U16 bracket to the U19 bracket. The North American Hockey Academy featured here in this game against the Rothesay Netherwood School, and right off the bat, just 9 seconds in, a collision over in the far corner of the Winterhawk zone. Sees one of the players here for RNS shaken up, and right away here, 9 seconds in, we'll pause and take a quick moment here as they check on the fallen player. So just 9 seconds into this game, unfortunate to see really at any point, any time in the game, but it appeared to be Gracie Kennedy, number 22, who went hard in that far side corner of the defensive zone of the North American Hockey Academy. She got some help getting off the ice from her teammates, Marissa Dawson and Emily Somerville. Scary to see, though, especially so early into the game. As we restart things here, and hopefully did not look as bad as it seemed there, with Kennedy getting some help off to the locker room. Game back underway here after that pause. The Winterhawks get the game's first shot as that was turned aside off the stick of Sophie Peterson, who is starting here tonight. Peterson going opposite of Evelyn Brown, number 32, down in the nets to our right. As that couldn't be handled by Elizabeth LaChance, who had that first shot in on goal. RNS will break this puck out on a wing-to-wing pass. It's dumped in deep by Naomi Gogwin, who tracks it down from out of the corner, but didn't have much support as her team was changing up behind her. Possession taken along the far side. A aerial pass there was knocked down and brought back in. As Adrian Shanahan got to about the bottom of the circle before having the puck checked off of her stick. Now it's poked back on to Thomas. To the point she goes for a shot that was wide, looking for a tip as it's played back in front and across the crease. Getting a touch on that was Sophie Urquhart. As it's thrown back in off the goaltender Brown. She'll steer it aside. Up played now in back of the net by Thomas, trying to drag it along the kick plate before she gets locked up there in the corner. Puck grabbed and cleared by Kaylee Mandeville as it went up into the air. Landed on the opposite side of the red line, and Abby Richardson able to dump this in as the Winterhawks will change out. Bouncing puck. Fielded there at the far point by Brianna Gruber. As they still fight for it here along the far side. Nifty move to step into the circle. Shot was played off the side of the net there by Aniva Height. Comes back out high into the zone. Kartush couldn't play it as it ricochets back into the neutral zone, and an offside whistle sounds here. Puck recovered here at center ice. Looking to march back in. Kate Lauder was met there by a sea of green jerseys as Claire Bettle lost her stick trying to get past the check coming from Lauder on the back check. Puck kicked ahead and moved on to Lauder's stick. She had one player to beat back there. Strong defending from Somerville. As Lauder down to her knees. One off the puck. Somerville there to play a pass on D to D. As it's poked out through center. Claire Bettle down to a knee. Tried to extend for that puck. But it's taken and brought back in across the line by Ellie Mellig, who tries her luck down low to the short side. That went off the outside of the net. The follow-up attempt was stopped. As Lauder came in for a second bite at the apple. Turned aside off the right pad of Peterson. Now bottom of the circle. Here's a puck right on, and Peterson able to squeeze the knees there as that came on to her quick. Hayden Blom trying to put that through the 5-hole of the RNS goaltender. Face-off will be to her right with 16:20 to go in this first period. 3 20-minute periods. Unlike the U16 games, which are 3 17-minute periods, we will still have the ice cut at the same juncture in time after the second period of play. As Abby Richardson will float this into an open corner. Back to slap it around the wall and a Kilfoyle. But it's held in here at the point. Long shot bouncing wide of the cage. Mandeville out there on defense, along with Ellie Mellig, who ripped that shot wide. Fiddled back out into neutral ice. Trying to turn it back into the zone quickly was Mandeville, but she had to wait for her team to tag up. As it rolls across the neutral zone, gathered up here and brought back in by LaChance. Changes made over at the home bench. As this puck is collected from behind Peterson. A pass up the near side wing. It missed Gogwin's stick. It goes all the way down for an icing. Off the draw. Dangerous pass right up the middle was picked off. Shot came in from Murphy. Never got through to the net. As there was a pileup of green jerseys congesting things up the middle. Poke back up towards the line, but they'll reset instead here from center ice. Backhanding it in deep. Taken around the cage by Underhill. He was under some duress. Couldn't get the clear out past Tegan Flood, who sees it finally lifted back out as it splits the defense. Forces Murphy all the way back to chase as she'll swing her own net around. Hawks looking to break here as Flood has to turn around and can now gain the line left wing side. Flood got stood up there by Somerville. Just got the hands up legally enough. Gruber will play it back around the wall. Changes are being made there, and that allows for RNS to get the clear. Only as far as the blue line for the North American Hockey Academy. Played away from Bettel, who was oncoming. And then chipped further off the boards by Olivia Johnson, and nearly another turnover as that ricocheted off the stick of Murphy, who looks to play that into the slot. Broken up though, and now it's Bettel working 1-on-4 currently as her team makes some changes behind her. Bettel is closed off as she tried to advance into the corner. Good hit there from Melling to stick tight to her. Tossed back out into neutral ice. On the move, Kilfoyle. Forced back over to the boards, but is able to get it back out high here for a shot that's right on, and Brown able to kick that out. Off the shot from Amelia Zeeland. Works it all the way around the wall. Culligan trying to step off the boards after Zeeland was pressed up there by Johnson. Up the far side, not out. Zeeland has it again on her stick. Turning here into the corner. Now back up to the point. Kilfoyle. Goguen get tripped up. Now Zeeland trying to fight her way towards the net. As bodies were down in front of Brown, it's taken away by the Winterhawks, and they can do just enough to clear as Goguen grabs it and is able to drop it in deep to get a change. Ellie Melling with a pass off the outstretched stick of Kate Lauder. As this puck here is given away in a bad area, and look out, it could be trouble as a backhand pass was slipped through by LaChance. Just too far forward of anyone in a white sweater that was trying to crash to that far post. As it is chipped off the boards, Mandeville able to stand strong on her skates before finally getting planted there by Urquhart's hit. The Urquhart with a centering feed that was defended there off the stick of Mandeville. Puck looped down into space. LaChance will try and get to it first. As it's played right towards the net for a redirect try, and going across from right to left. Peterson able to squeeze onto that shot with 11:31 to go here in the first. Puck taken off the face-off and worked into the slot. Played out off the boards and back into Winterhawks territory. Wing-to-wing pass did not connect with Lobiser. It's held in momentarily by Mandeville, who's forced to drop it back. Sent down the wall where Marissa Dawson looks to chase after it. Took a strange carom there, back out into the circle. But it's worked out past the blue line. Lobiser drops it off. Mandeville trying to hit one of her teammates there who was lurking along the blue line. That was Johnson. Who will dump it in along the boards and head off to complete a change. So we're nearly halfway through this first period. No score. As this is sent all the way down, we'll get an icing here. And the faceoff will travel back down to Sophie Peterson. 10:31 left to go. We're in a scoreless first period. Taken out high along the line. Johnson turns and is able to find a teammate. That's from along the blue line. Claude could not backhand that further into space, as it'll wobble its way back into the defensive zone. Claude has it. Up to the line. It was redirected away from Smith's stick before being shot back in. Brown will set this puck aside. As it's fed once again up that near side wing. Claude ahead, and there's a big hit. One that I don't believe Morden was anticipating, as Culligan came up just past the red line and planted her. The game's first power play will go to the Winterhawks with 9:45 left here in this first period. Puck taken off the draw. Melling will hand this off. Here's a shot from Lobiser that was blocked before it ever got towards Peterson. Cleared back down the ice, where Urquhart will get to it first in behind the net, but working 1 against 2, she ultimately loses the puck, and it's Richardson now from behind her own net. Passes on through the neutral zone. Lobiser slowing down before throwing one towards the net, where Peterson, alert with the glove, able to flag it down with a $1.25 left here on the kill. Puck poked ahead off the draw and fired down the ice by Sophia Lace. Foot race here. As it is led ahead. Back down the wing. Could be an opportunity as this is taken hard to the net. Peterson trying to match the speed there from the streaking winger, Abby Richardson. Puck taken off the draw, sent up the line. Pulled off the boards by Murphy. Played over into the corner and now around from behind the net. We'll find Mandeville along the near hash. Back up to the line she goes. Murphy nowhere to shoot. Now Mandeville up there by the stick of Shanahan. She looks to maintain possession here. Back out high along the blue line, but good pressure from out high in the zone, and Marissa Dawson able to force this puck all the way back down. With just about 20 seconds to go in this power play, Flawed has it. Being pressed up along the boards. It's taken back by RNS, and they're able to clear with just 10 seconds to go in this penalty. Murphy, maybe time to look things over for one more rush as Culligan is ready to step out of the box. Team's back to even strength here with 7:40 to go in a scoreless first period. As Flawed tries to work her way in down the far side wing, it's taken back out high. Johnson thought she would have had Flawed open there towards the far corner, but it's broken up and cleared back out. Sent ahead off of Flawed's stick. She'll head off to the bench for a change. As that pass, a dangerous one, and in the feet of Louder. Gets another steal inside the line. Louder dangles to the outside. Into the circle. Couldn't step through the traffic as it's moved back up now to the point for a shot, blocked down in front. Off of Dawson Smith, who gets it across the red line and gets some help from Amelia Zeeland to push that puck in further as changes can be made here for the visitors dressed in green and white. Comes around the wall. Blom could not get the clear originally. As crossing the red line now is Cassidy Lobiser. Didn't get much farther putting that puck in deep. Returned back into the zone here, forcing a quick decision from Kilfoyle, who had to reverse a puck there from danger. Pressure being applied now on the forecheck by Jayla Matthews from the corner. Tried to wait for some support to arrive, but Thomas was just a bit late as the puck comes up the wall and it's worked ahead. Lobiser will put on the brakes and play it in deep, wide of the net. Thought maybe she had someone going to goal there. As it's cleared across wing to wing. Mandeville fell down as she tried to backhand it further. It is briefly taken back here by RNS as it's Bettel moving in with a shot that is going well wide of the target. Mandeville now having to turn away from Bettel's pressure. He's able to escape and find her open partner there on defense. Hyde could only get her pass up to the red line. Now has another chance to try and step forward, but too much traffic out in center ice as it's brought back in by Shanahan, weaving her way into the circle. A good poke coming in there from the last possible moment. Late offside here, sees the puck come back into center ice. Height this time can snap it into an open corner. Shanahan hard and around the wall. Going back around her net, Thomas's pass. Somerville had some trouble there with two white sweaters converging onto her. Flawed now trying to move it in towards the middle. Good active stick there from Smith. As it's played off the boards out to center ice. With just over 4 minutes to go here in this opening period. A puck drifting back into the RNS zone. It's gathered up away from the oncoming pressure that was being applied by Tegan Flawed. Thrown into an open corner where Murphy looks over her shoulders before sending this puck around the wall, but it gets away from Flawed. Taken now to the outside by Matthews, trying to get a puck there into the corner. Worked all the way around and back up to the point where that shot never had a chance to get through off the legs of Johnson. Bouncing puck could not be settled. It was poked away there on a good read from Murphy, who gets to the red line before being dumped down by Matthews. Now back the other way, some speed and potentially some numbers as a centering feed never got through. They worked defensively that time from Gruber, as the indirect feed was too far forward of Kate Lauder. Now Kilfoyle being pressured, gave the puck away for a backhand opportunity that just was shoveled wide, stick side. Taken here at the goal line. Blom back up the wall for a pinching Melling. Has to start her retreat back on defense as it's carried in across the red line, and Culligan can wrap this puck around the boards. Lace stepping through, tries her luck from distance, and the standing Brown can make the save in her glove with 2:11 to go here in the first. Puck reversed from behind the net. Now finds its way back over in that far corner away from Mandeville. As it's chopped back towards the net, just drifting wide, stick side of Evelyn Brown. Richardson had to play it back to Mandeville. Off the boards, it was knocked down by Goguen. Players wrapping each other up there. Sophia Klein was in the mix. As it's pushed towards goal, sticked aside by the goaltender Brown. And the rebound carried ahead down that right wing side where more contact was laid on there. And this time, Shanahan finished off a hit with the puck getting moved past her. It'll be the second power play opportunity coming up with 1:24 to go in this first period. An interference call on the defender, Adrian Shanahan. Winterhawks are 0 for 1 with the power play, but a chance to try and strike here before the period comes to a close. Warden unable to win that draw against Urquhart, but possession here for the power play unit. Lobiser shoots right on goal, and Peterson had eyes to that all the way. No screen set out in front, and the shot lands and stays in her glove. Puck pulled back off the draw to Melling. She'll play it across. Dropped in deep by Richardson, trying to get a return feed, but it was broken up and cleared. Nice work down low there by Underhill with the stick. We enter the final minute of this first period, and the power play has to pick it back up from their own zone as going to gain some speed. Lobiser was forced to slow down as he had to deal with Thomas. Grabbed here by LaChance. We can get all the way back out to the blue line with half a minute to go in the period. Shot blocked down. Skittered out the other side. And a great first save by Peterson. But the rebound was tucked in as she couldn't get her skate fully anchored back onto that near post. And a power play goal with 26 seconds to go in the first gets the Winterhawks on the board. They lead it 1-0 courtesy of Cassidy Lobiser, who stuck with that play after being thwarted there on a great first save. Peterson didn't have much help there down low and just couldn't stretch any further back to the post as Lobiser is able to poke it home with just 26 seconds to go in the period, and the power play able to strike on the second go-around. Give the Winterhawks a goal here on the board as they do indeed capitalize late. 20 seconds to go here in the period. Dumped back in. Ash Shanahan, who was in the box for 58 seconds of that 2-minute penalty. Only 5 seconds to go in the period. It'll just be pushed in deep, in below the goal line as time will expire through the first 20 minutes of play. And the Winterhawks ahead 1-0 as we'll take a quick breather and come back for the start of the second period here in just a moment from the Canton Ice House. Second period underway. That late power play goal coming with just 26 seconds left in the opening frame. Cassidy Lobiser from Danica Morden and Abigail Richardson on the second power play opportunity for the Winterhawks. They lead 1-0 here. Play 20 more minutes before an intermission and an ice cut. Not a ton of action overall. The shots fairly limited, 7-5 in favor of the Winterhawks. And most of the action came on both of their power plays. Neither team at even strength has yet to really threaten. There may be opportunities now here as Richardson had some room open down the wing. She does have a trailer in the form of LaChance, but couldn't drop the puck back off to her. As it's taken away along the far side of the ice and just worked out enough. And it's now onto the stick of Shanahan. Thought she had a teammate with her in the form of Naomi Gogwin. Now Zeeland along the boards, back up to the point. Shot coming in from distance was possibly tipped on its way in, and Brown was able to kick that aside as it's played back towards the net off the short side, and Brown down with the paddle, able to seal everything off and cover. Face-off is one back to Underhill. Now from the circle and into the slot for a quick shot there off the stick of Matthews that never got through. Knocked out in front by Height, who was standing in the way. Up the line it comes here for a shot from Somerville that was also blocked down in front. Up the shin pads of Tegan Flood. As this pass can be angled ahead by Reese Kartush, but it was angled too far forward and back onto the goaltender Peterson to at least avoid an icing. As Matthews now looked to have it on her stick for a moment, but lost possession as she looks to head off for a change. Baum charging after that puck after the pass tipped off her stick. Covered here by Lauder, but then given away. Dawson able to drop this puck off. Bettel back in front, hoping for the stick of Dawson, but she was wrapped up in front of the net nicely there by Brianna Gruber. Dawson again. Works the puck on to the wing. Bettel driving before running out of real estate there in below the goal line. It's backhanded up the wall, but not out of the zone. Moves from behind the net of Brown. Kilfoyle waiting for it at the point. Able to go down the wall to Zeeland, who was checked down to a knee. Back up and battling. She'll send it around through the corners. Battle over there to apply a hit as the puck was squeezed out and played out across the line. Culligan prevents things from going any further. As now along the near side, Blom can get a touch. As the Winterhawks seek to change things up, RNS wants to counter quickly. Chopped along the boards. Held in by Klein, who was fresh onto the ice. Nobody can seemingly get possession as Klein now tries to get it back up to the point. Could be some space here as Shanahan fires a high-rising shot. Raising up off the goaltender Brown before catching the glass. Richardson couldn't thread the needle there as it was off of Shanahan's legs. LaChance will drop this puck back. Pass up the wing, deflected deep into the zone. Shanahan turns and really ran right into Elizabeth LaChance as this puck is taken away. Mandeville Brown, where it was stolen away and popped through the air across the goal mouth and back into neutral ice for Melling to play it across. Shanahan on the move. Hands it off to Matthews. Long shot in on goal. Was turned aside by Brown. That pass was intended for Richardson. Broken up off the stick of Dawson Smith as we get a stoppage here. And the faceoff will be spotted to the right side of Evelyn Brown. Take the tape for Lobiser to dump it in. Up move towards the middle where Matthews had her pass cut off by Hyde. Dug off the boards and now played over. Johnson, beautiful move to the net. Johnson shooting and a glove save. Made that time by Peterson. After Olivia Johnson made a great move there to step past her check and work in one-on-one. Tried to go upstairs, and Peterson beat her to the spot there with the left hand to snare it with 14:08 to go in the second. One of the better looking chances here at even strength for either team. Peterson equal to the task on that. Puck is played around her net. Claire Bettle's pass did not connect wing to wing. She was hoping to find Ella Bettle. Broken up and cleared back out through center off the glove of Kilfoyle. He drops it off, now in across the line. High rising shot, popped up and out of play over the protective netting after going off the blocker of Brown. From the defensive zone, Miller makes a nice move into the circle. Miller shooting and scoring out of nowhere. An end-to-end rush from her own zone. She carried it all the way down the right wing side before finishing high short side, popping the water bottle over Sophie Peterson to help the Winterhawks extend their lead to 2-0 with 13:08 to go here in the second. Ava Miller from coast to coast. Picked that puck up off a defensive zone win and did the rest herself. Only had to make one move there down the right wing side and made no mistake on that finish. High glove. Seen a couple of those here on this Friday. The water bottles have not been safe on top of the goaltender's nets. Stumbling a bit with the puck, but recovering nicely there was Emily Somerville, who brings it in across the line and will backhand it into an open corner. Puck is dragged out of that corner and brought ahead by LaChance. Trying to work her way down the boards and nearly got run into that padded glass support there right by the home bench. That'll be able to force this puck through Gruber and into the corner. Snap all the way around the far side, kept in by Matthews, who was covering at the point, as that shot was drilled in off the pads of Brown. Up the wall again it comes. Up past Culligan, as RNS recovers and dumps a puck in deep. 2-0 the score here from the Canton Ice House, as Richardson tries to get ahead of steam up ice. A chance at the turn to her backhand to accept the pass, as Richardson couldn't sweep it out in front. Good kneeling block made there. Rattled all the way back around Peterson's net. Culligan up the boards, but away from Goguen. As it's swept aside by Peterson, but right back onto a stick where it's played back out in front for a quick shot. And Peterson with the glove this time, able to get the better of that chance, when it looked like RNS had possession of things around their own net. Johnson tried to get that back up to the point, but a good read from Smith, and a 2-on-1 now developing as Smith passes across, but that shot from Goguen ramping up off a stick, high and out of play. Perfectly defended on that 2-on-1 by Kylie Mandeville, who got her stick in the way of that. As a clearing attempt goes up and over the far side glass, they'll keep the faceoff inside the zone with 10:44 to go in this second period. A potential chance going by the boards as Dawson Smith was leading that 2-on-1 charge. Got the pass across, but the stick came in from Mandeville just at the last moment to break things up. As Johnson couldn't take that towards the corner. Now we'll look to engage with Shanahan, who sends it back up that near side wall. Cross zone pass was poked into space by Goguen, who steps in and fires off the right arm of Brown, who is able to flex that aside, with some traffic going to the net in the form of Amelia Zeeland. Now a takeaway here, bottom of the circle. This could be trouble, and it is! As the Winterhawks were looking to change, puck came back down the wing, and Emily Thomas was able to jump all over it on a shot that just breaks through the pads of Brown to put RNS on the board halfway through this second period. It's 2-1. Emily Thomas, who's committed to the University of New Brunswick, able to finish off the play as the Winterhawks don't realize that they are offside here, and whistle finally sounds as a result, as that was louder and on the forecheck. Did not get the memo, and the faceoff as a result will travel its way back down to Brown, who looked to squeeze off most of that shot, but it just had enough to get in across the line, breaking through her pads. And a big goal for Emily Thomas to pick up to get her team on the scoreboard. As Underhill turning back up the ice quickly before she was ridden off her skates by Blom. Blom shuffles that backhand pass off the boards. It's chopped up, but it stays in the ring. As Lauder got her skates taken out from underneath her. Tried to pop right back up to play that puck, but it's taken instead by Thomas, who shoots it back in around the net. Quickly moved out of the zone, but out of Blom's reach. Kilfoyle will turn it back down through Gruber. And Murphy able to turn away from one check. She finds Gruber, her partner on defense. who sends it back around from where it came. Blom with a pass that got through one number 34 in Kilfoyle, but could not be located by her own 34, LaChance. As Murphy gets back to block that shot from Kilfoyle, who carried in on her own. It's Dawson now covering and getting some help to send that puck in and around, courtesy of Ella Bettel. That puck was airmailed up through center, but too far up, in fact, as it catches the ceiling here at the Canton Ice House, and this faceoff will get spotted with 8:21 to go in the second to the right of Evelyn Brown. Off the draw. It was tied up in LaChance's skates, as both her and Zeeland had each other wrapped up. A pop fly was fielded there by Claire Bettel. Now Zeeland and Mandeville battle along in the corner. A couple of players over there to join them, as it finally is taken away from that pile by LaChance. LaChance spun down to a knee as Zeeland tried to take the puck away, but good layers defensively. As that pass away from Richardson out to center ice, Shanahan will move it across. Lace able to connect on this pass as a shot snapped in by Gogwin off the pads of Brown, who calmly was able to kick that shot aside. Gogwin off her skate, tried to get a handle of it. She failed to get it in deep. LaChance did not, as both teams can finish up on some changes. Smith misread that pass. It's taken away. Lobiser right out in front, and a great stop there. Moving her across her crease, Sophie Peterson from left to right. Able to meet that puck right on the doorstep to shut things down and cover up with 7:06 to go after Cassidy Lobiser was able to locate that puck and zip a pass right across to the front of the net. Good stop from Peterson, who looks to her right here as the puck was worked around her own net. Johnson was trying to get in there as well, but looked to overskate the puck as it comes up the boards. Was held in for a moment by Height. Matthews came across the red line and was able to dump this in deep. She won't have to worry about not getting it in deeper as the icing call is made, and RNS will have an attacking zone draw, trailing 2-1 here with 6:29 left in this second period from the Ice House. Each team with a goal here in this second period after Lobiser scored late in the first on the power play. Johnson able to settle down this puck as Underhill went down to her knees. Couldn't slow her up as it's moved back to the point for a shot in from Height. Stopped off the blocker of Peterson. Stick was lifted by Faude in back of the goal as she works over to the corner. Turning to the forehand. Now burrowing her way to the bottom of the circle before she pushed that through the crease and wide. Faude now covering at the point. Opens up for a long-range bid, and that can be easily gloved by the goaltender. Peterson will get another attacking zone faceoff. Puck fired off the boards, and it was too hot to handle that time for Melling at the point. Quick up, though, finds Blom, who sends it around the cage. Culligan backhands it up the wall, where it was kicked down but not out of the zone. As Miller holds and looks to send it towards goal, but Good stick coming in from Zealand, who also had some help from Kilfoyle, the defender standing out in front. It's Miller again, passing across. Louder turned and flung that back across the crease and wide. Nobody home at the near post. Indirect feed is grabbed by Urquhart. She'll shift into the circle, trying to get this on goal. It made its way through and forced Brown to kick out the right leg. Melling trying to stretch her strides out now, turning to the forehand. That went off the stick of Matthews, who was back defensively and through the crease. Now LaChance into the circle. Backhand try from a tight angle. She couldn't play it on to the netminder as Gruber holds it in. Under 5 minutes to play in the period. Gruber shooting. That ramps up off Matthews' stick and over the cage. Another chance here. Mandeville long shot, low and wide. Picked up by LaChance, who checked off the puck by Culligan. She then turned the puck over, but thought maybe we would get a whistle there as it got caught up on the backside of the net. Referees allow for things to play on as it's back into neutral ice. Down and played in from behind the red line that time by Matthews, and will be icing on RNS with 3:53 left until we hit the intermission. Winding down this first day of 3 from Canton, and after today there will only be one game played outside of the Canton Ice House over at the Cadillac Ice Arena tomorrow morning. Just one more game apiece here on the red and blue rinks here from the Canton Ice House. We'll see another North American Hockey Academy team to close out the day. The Navy team set to play against the Junior Flyers. This is brought back in across the blue line and chipped into space by Tegan Flood. Flood run down there on a bump from Shanahan, but pops right back up to her skates. Stick handling along the outside. She put a bit too much on that pass, trying to get it over to Mandeville, who's being pestered there in front of her own bench. Taken back over and played up that strong side. As Sophia Lace could not get it out. She'll get another chance, playing it off the skates of one of the Winterhawks. As Mandeville sends Blom ahead. She looked to center, but that was broken up as Lace looking over her shoulder, anticipating perhaps a pass, and she had her stick in the lane to break things up as now Zealand looks to chip and chase. And she's able to draw a penalty, moving her feet, as it'll be interference with 2:13 to go in this second period, and we'll see if RNS can get this game tied up on a late period power play. Looks like the Winterhawks were able to jump ahead late in the first period when Lobiser scored with 26 seconds to go. Laura Murphy will sit for interference. Just impeded Zealand a bit too much there after the puck was played past her along the boards. As to the power play go RNS for the first time. Richardson got a good burst of speed down that left wing side, shorthanded before being broken up just inside the line. This power play will carry for virtually all of the second period, what's left of it at least. Two of the final 2 minutes and 13 seconds. As Matthews will allow for Shanahan to take this puck. She lost it, though, as a clearing attempt had hit Richardson out at center ice. Richardson is out there up front with LaChance. As Zeeland finds Urquhart in over the line. Urquhart looked to go down over Mandeville's stick as this puck is pinned up now along the near side wall. Zeeland and Richardson had it closed off. As Mandeville able to turn and use the window to clear. All the way back down to Peterson as we enter the final minute of this second period. 45 seconds and counting to go on the interference penalty to Murphy. Dawson had to force that pass across from wing to wing as a long shot was blocked and a stick broke as it failed in the hands of Sophia Lace. That benefits things for the penalty killers. And as the Winterhawks can shoot this all the way back down, Peterson setting things up with under 20 seconds to go in the power play, under half a minute in the period. Dawson was stood into by Lobiser as she tried to backhand it ahead onto the stick of Claire Bettel. Puck popped into an open area where it could be grabbed and cleared by Ellie Melling all the way back down as Murphy is freed from the box. Not much doing on that power play for RNS as there's only just 5 seconds now left in the period. Zeeland maybe one last chance to shoot, but well wide of the stick side as both teams pick up goals here in this second period. But it's the North American Hockey Academy to take a 2-1 lead. Here through 40 minutes of play, they lead the Rothsay Netherwood School 2-1 through 2 as we'll take our intermission here from the Canton Ice House. Back for the third period in about a dozen or so minutes. Back here inside the Canton Ice House, ready to resume play here in this third period. With the North American Hockey Academy up 2-1 over the Rothsay Netherwood School. Both teams scoring in that second period. Shots are even through two periods, 16 apiece. Haven't been many chances in this game, especially at even strength action for the Winterhawks. They've been able to get most of their momentum generated on a couple of power play opportunities. They scored their first goal on the power play, courtesy of Cassidy Loviser. Then in the second period, it was Ava Miller scoring a beautiful goal, unassisted, carrying a puck all the way out from her own zone before finishing it off short side high. That gave them a 2-0 lead. But answering just at the midway mark of the second period, Emily Thomas getting her team on the board with Sophie Urquhart picking up the helper. As that's where things stand through 40 minutes of play. Here 1 minute through in this third period. Let's see if RNS can muster up an answer to at least try and get this game tied. We've seen an overtime game already here from the Blue Rink at the Canton Ice House. Johnson, who was robbed by Sophie Peterson back in that second period. Walking in one-on-one, try to go upstairs over the glove. Peterson was good with that glove a couple of times in that second period, but no chance to stop Miller on that shot that she unleashed, which currently stands as the difference maker. As Lace back in her own zone, turns this off the boards, but right there was Danica Morden. She'll play it in off the end boards. Changes can be made as a long lead pass does connect onto Urquhart's tape. She'll drive in right to the net. Brown made the first save before bodies went crashing into her and into the post. That was Gruber back defensively on a real strong net drive from Sophie Urquhart, who has an assist on the only goal scored by RNS and was looking for an early equalizer as she took things right to that near post. Fortunately, nobody worse for wear there. As we did see a player go down back in the first period, just 9 seconds into this game, and certainly hope that for Gracie Kennedy, number 22, the Rothsay Netherwood, that she is all right, although she was shaken up a good bit down on the ice early. Not an ideal way to start a game off, and down a forward here the rest of the way. RNS has been able to keep this game tight as it's played towards the front of Peterson, but a chance never came onto the net. Sprinting back ahead is the goal scorer, Thomas. She'll fire through the legs of Murphy. Tough to tell whether that shot would have been going wide or not, but taking no chances. Brown able to snare it with the glove, and she'll take the face-off to her left. Always difficult to pick up shots through your own defense like that there. Good glove save for Brown. As off the draw, Culligan. Dangerous no-look pass. It's picked off, and look out here. Richardson trying to break ahead. Culligan came back and chopped the stick down out of her hands, and it'll be a power play, 2:58 into the period. It was not Culligan, but her partner on defense, Anna Kilfoyle. He was on the receiving end of a dangerous pass back at the attacking blue line. A turnaround, almost no-look feed that was picked off by Richardson, and now to the power play. Go the Winterhawks, who are 1 for 2. A chance, wheeling out high, hands it off. Richardson's shot blocked down straight away off the body of Lace. Does just enough to clear the zone. And then it hit off of Richardson's legs as she was trying to tag up. It'll be offside. Power plays have been moments in this game where They have been able to generate some of their looks, some of their better looks at that. See what they can do with under a minute and a half already. As Lace wraps up along the wall there with Lobiser. Have to be careful there with the free arm and free hand. As it's up to the point, walking the line, Melling hands it off as Richardson goes down low and tried to get a return feed. Instead, it comes on for Melling, whose shot was punched aside off the blocker of Peterson. Johnson in tight quarters, trying to shake off the hook that time there was Morden. Now Richardson to the corner, LaChance trying to go backdoor. Too many sticks and skates clogging things up in the middle as it kicks back out high. Richardson along the boards will stop up and turn back down through the stick of LaChance, who has it here, trying to walk out in front. Kneeling block made down at the side of the net by Lace, who had coverage out front from Culligan. As with only 20 seconds to go in this power play, it's cleared all the way back down behind Brown. As a quick up for Lobiser, who turns and feeds it ahead for Flawed. Flawed takes it after being watched there by Somerville. Power play winding down, freed from the box is Kilfoyle as a shot goes off the pads of Peterson. Shot back down the ice wide of Brown's net, so after a successful penalty kill, RNS won't be out of their own zone just yet as they ice it with 14:55 to go in the third, but a huge kill down by just a goal. A couple of strong saves for Sophie Peterson. Her best on the penalty kill coming on that chance from the defender, Ellie Melling, who snuck in from that near point. Aniva Hike now fights her way towards middle ice. Has that low shot steered aside off the stick of Peterson. As Johnson, strong defending against Somerville as those two stuck shoulder to shoulder. Might be room up that right wing side. As that shot taken off the bar and in! Ava Miller does it again! Picking her spot short side high with 14:25 to go in the third. Her second goal tonight. Another beauty to put the Winterhawks up by 2. Just when it looked like she was going to run out of real estate, Underhill tried to slow her down along that right wing side, and Miller able to settle things down on her forehand before unleashing another twisted-looking wrist shot off the bar and in short side. Tremendous finish for her second goal tonight and a big insurance marker here as we've played nearly 6 minutes into this third period. Pushed in by Morden off the stick of Peterson. Back to a 2-goal lead here for the Winterhawks as it's off the boards. Grabbed by Morden and played back in towards the corner. Blom went down to the ice. Allows for the puck to be taken here and played ahead. Zeeland on an indirect feed, well behind the red line. Sees that go for icing as I believe she was trying to team up with Naomi Gilgwin, but just put that pass too far ahead of her. Thomas on the move out of her own zone. Awkward looking collision there right in front of the bench. She dusts herself off. This could be trouble here as a puck came into the slot, locked down and played back up to the point. Culligan shooting. That never got through to the net as it was knocked down in front by Mandeville. Or check that, Murphy, pardon me. Murphy got that Shot block up high along the chest as Culligan's pass angles back through center ice. And now from her own zone, Culligan up to the red line where it's chopped in further along the boards by Sophie Urquhart. This puck will leave the surface into the home bench. And the faceoff, I believe, will stay inside the attacking zone here for RNS, who finds themselves now back down by 2 with 12:34. Still time to play in this third period, but they're going to have to find some goals. Starting with one here in short order, ideally. The faceoff, one cleanly back by Johnson. Turning Mandeville. Able to scale this back down off the glass, and it won't have enough to go for an icing. As accelerating with this puck. Somerville steps in, got towards the middle, and let that shot unleash. Just wide, glove side, didn't miss by a ton. Somerville getting back defensively as Flawed is in. Flawed knocked down on a subtle bump from Underhill. Johnson trying to extend, but just had the puck get away from her. Played back off the boards, and another good aggressive play from Kylie Mandeville. This time on her backhand, able to get a puck in deep, allowing her team to complete some changes. Mandeville from her own zone. Got that puck ahead. Blom was able to absorb a hit as she wanted to turn it back in across the line onside. It comes available, bottom of the circle. Quick shot in on from Morden. Forced to save out of Peterson. It looked like things were a bit off kilter there at the blue line. They stay onside. Puck pushed into space, and Morden able to get to it first. Forcing a save out of Sophie Peterson. As this is moved back now, Murphy all the way to goal, and that's vacuumed up by the goaltender Peterson, who was able to get good eyes onto it right into her midsection. She'll hang on. This time they'll drop it to her right. Off the draw, Louder. Slips it into the circle, off the skates of Blom. Back up to the point. Height tried to return it back to Blom, but she got tied up with Zeeland. Back to her skates, plays it on for Louder. Off the skates of Lace. It gets ridden into the end boards there. And a good hit from Blom. Murphy's pass goes wayward and forces Aniva Height to go all the way back chasing it. Now it's led ahead for Morden. Off the boards and in deep. Goaltender Peterson looked to try and come out to play that puck and lost an edge. She's back in her crease here for a quick shot. And a puck that came back into the bottom of the circle. Didn't have much time to react off her line as she squeezes on to the chance from Elizabeth LaChance. Who knows, one more goal here could really help to further this cushion her team's been able to build. Up by 2. And as of late have not felt all that threatened here in their own zone. They've been able to spend a couple of consecutive shifts here on the attack. Shots are 10-2 in this period in favor of the home side after they were dead even at 16 apiece through 2 periods of play. 9:50 to go, past the halfway mark here. As that point shot from Kilfoyle never got through the pile of players standing there along the far side. As trying to get ahead of steam here was Richardson. Turned back briefly into her own zone and now can really motor here down the right wing side. Richardson slowed down a little bit there. Matthews was trying to maybe throw a hip into her. Richardson had a good rush. Height pinching in. Good battle there with Thomas. As it's up to the line and a close shave, but it was indeed offside as Mandeville tried to step onto it quickly. Flawed will chip and look to chase. Getting to it here in back of the goal and pulling it away from Dawson. Flawed trying to exchange places with Miller as a drive from Mandeville was misfired on. Mandeville, though, good stick to prevent Somerville from using the boards there for a self-pass. As Johnson, along with Flawed, tried to move that puck into the corner. It's Flawed now, stopping, advancing, bottom of the circle. Flawed now spinning as she takes it around the net, looking over her options, tried to hook that towards the slot. Broken up and taken out now through neutral ice, gaining the red line and dumping it in. Ella Bettel for RNS. Mandeville scoops it up and over the glove of Shanahan as a puck centered through the crease. Changes being made on the back end here as the Winterhawks can get fresh personnel out on the ice. Banked up for Murphy, who fired that wide through a crowd. Picked up off the boards. Blom had it, but then lost it. As ahead across the red line, Shanahan can drop it into an open corner. Danica Morden nearly overstepped the puck there as it's played over to Lace. Lace goes D to D. Quick pass there up the far wing. It was returned rink wide, but out of the reach of Underhill. As Peterson will stop this puck for Lace, whose pass was telegraphed by LaChance, hopping past one check. LaChance centers in front, quick chance, good stop by Peterson, who then stops the rebound try on Murphy from right in between the hash marks. Really strong first save for Sophie Peterson. Just flexing out that left pad in time after LaChance jumped all over a turnover and nearly set up the fourth goal of the game for the Winterhawks as this is driven back down, but off a white sweater, so no icing. Lobiser trying to go right up the gut, but Richardson had her stick lifted, and with 6:06 to go in the third, icing will bring things back down to Evelyn Brown, who's had her quietest period so far out of the three. Stopped 10 out of 11 in the second, but has only seen 2 her way here in this third period. They came early, one of which a strong save on a strong move to the net by Urquhart. Since then, not much doing. The shot's 12-2 in favor of the home side here in this third period. 28-18 for the game, as here's one right on to the short side. Guess who? Sophie Urquhart once again going strong to the net, trying to sneak one through, but Brown sealing up the post, hangs on for the draw. Puck back to the point. Lace hands it off for Matthews, who backhands it all the way across, hoping maybe for Shanahan, who was knocked down to the ice. As back up comes Miller again, sitting on 2 goals. We've already seen 2 hat tricks here on this rink today, both coming in the same game. Back earlier in the afternoon, And Gilbertson scored 3 goals. Followed by Elizabeth Belanger of Stansted College in the U16 ranks, who scored 3 goals and an assist for 4 points in what was a thrilling 6-6 tie, game that went all the way into overtime. Had a little bit of everything on the blue rink here from Canton Ice House. We'll see what's in store for us here with under 5 minutes to go in the third. RNS trying to rally here from down 2. Puck along the near side wall. Tegan Flawed had to move it backwards, where Mandeville, who's been making plays all night long, not plays that show up on the score sheet, but smart and responsible plays. She tries to use the window to clear. Flawed in some trouble, had her pocket picked. Thomas driving, pushing it into the crease off the pads of Brown. Puck still available right in front of the crease. It's taken and fired back down the ice. And the Winterhawks will settle for an icing there as, once again, RNS taking pucks strong to the net that time. And good positioning down low for Evelyn Brown, who is trying to hold the fort here late. With 4:03 to go in the third, we'll keep an eye on Sophie Peterson with her team down by 2, when perhaps she may get a call to the bench for the extra skater. Seems like we see it now happen earlier and earlier in games, whether a team is down by 1 or down by 2. See what the approach will end up being, as for now it's controlled by the Winterhawks in their own zone. Morden into Louder's feet. Puck just escaped the zone. Offside here as Blom is offside. She had to go and retrieve her stick, though, before tagging up. Puck carried ahead by Gogwin. Gogwin pressed up there along the boards. Gogwin with her free hand. It almost looked like a game of whack-a-mole there. She was not happy with the contact that Danica Morden was applying to her along the far boards. A couple of pops to the top of the head with her glove, and enough to warrant a roughing penalty here, which will certainly complicate things for RNS, down by 2 with only 3:12 to go. A chance to try and put this game on ice for the Winterhawks, who have it here and look to go to work. A cross-crease feed. Did not connect with Cassidy Lobiser, who turns. Goes across. Touched up high. Quick pass from Melling, who gets it back here for a quick shot. Great save by Peterson, who tried to scramble back across. Puck was put into the net on about the second or third whack, but referee standing there to the right side of the net immediately washed it out. As Peterson continuing to battle here in this game, made another excellent first save on a shot that came through a lot of traffic. She got the left leg out to make the stop. There was bodies all around the crease, and I would imagine that's why the goal did not stand, as it was punched home on about the third, if not maybe fourth whack. As this puck played across for a quick shot that never got through. It was blocked down in front. Richardson was trying to get a bid as this comes into the crease. 2 more saves for Peterson, this time with her right leg as it's centered. Lobiser trying to get free, could not get that shot to go, as Shanahan was down playing some goalie in the circle, trying to help out Peterson, who comes up with 2 more impressive saves here on the penalty kill. .40 seconds on this power play. Brought back in and around the net by Richardson. Trying to dunk it back down into the corner. Picked off for a moment by Somerville into the slot. Melling all the way across. Richardson had to catch that on her backhand. Resets it over to Melling. Now Richardson, tons of space. She'll wind and fire. Blocker saved by Peterson, trying to clean her own rebound up. She couldn't cover along the short side as Lobiser, another quick trigger pull from that near side circle. It rolled through the crease and wide as Gogwin's out of the box. 70 seconds to go in this game. As RNS looking to escape the zone. Puck held in, and now look out. Point blank chance. Richardson shoots, and she could not pick the corner as it was snared by the glove of Peterson. Point blank again. Everybody trying to get up the ice in green. With that penalty having expired, they forgot to pick up a trailer in behind the play. Peterson, despite her team trailing by 2, giving them a chance to try and fight their way back in, but only 59 seconds to go as the visitors want to talk things over. Down 3-1 here from the Canton Ice House. We break here from the timeout. Puck is far from where RNS wants it to go, but look out here. A penalty with 49 seconds left will be called. Sends Tegan Flawed to the box. And it will send the goaltender Sophie Peterson to the bench. So 6 skating against 4 for the final 49 seconds. On a must-score power play here, down by 2. Up grab by Mandeville. Good work to find some space and use the glass to clear. Winterhawks are shorthanded here, so they can just clear down the ice as frequently as they would like. As that pass does not connect. Mandeville, once again, fast on that clear. As Lace looks to gain the line, but under 20 seconds to go. Knocked down by Urquhart. Stays in onside. Final handful of seconds here as one more shot flung towards goal. Stopped by Brown with 3.2. One more face-off perhaps to end this game as off the draw. One back by LaChance. And the Winterhawks control things here in this third period. They get a pair of goals from Ava Miller. A strong performance in between the pipes from Evelyn Brown. And despite an equally strong performance at the other net from Sophie Peterson, I'll say Netherwood just could not generate enough offense here tonight to come away with the victory. They got to within a goal, but trailed by 2 on 2 separate occasions tonight. And they fall by the narrow 3-1 final as we get set now for our final game of this Friday. We'll stay in the U19 bracket as the North American Hockey Academy will debut another team. It'll be their Navy team. And they will take on the Junior Flyers from Philadelphia. That's coming up next here from the Canton Ice House as we close things out on this Friday.